Well, we're back live here on Trampled Underfoot podcast. We have Mark Lindsay and myself as your host, Eloy Escagedo. And I don't know why I'm being like a Sunday noon golf tournament thing or whatever, but
Well,
here
if you're gonna do golf, you got to get real close to the mic and speak like this.
I just grabbed the first.
Jimmy's coming up to the second tee. He had a birdie, 2 eagles, and a duck last week. Yeah, I don't know a thing about golf. I'm one of the few people of Scottish descent that doesn't play golf. Golf could be a good game. I mean, because I can understand the appeal. You're challenging yourself. You're battling against yourself. Trying to hone your skills and try to get the lowest score as possible. But the problem is the golf people that I've met, that's all they want to talk about, and that's all they want to do. That's the only thing that matters to them is golf. Golf this, golf that, golf the other. It's like, dude, let's go fishing. No, it's great weather. Let's go play golf. No, I don't want to play golf. Nah.
It's funny because everybody has their in thing, and that is obviously a whole world. Mm-hmm. And people, it's a funny thing how each, I guess, hobby that can go into professional and excessive, all these little things like collecting, I don't know, pet rocks or stamps or coins. And it's all stuff that people do get a little, is it compulsive?
It's an obsession. That's my peeve with it. It could be a lot of fun, and I could see doing it once, twice, 3 times a year. But every waking moment, that's all they think about. That's all they want. And this is just my experience, okay? The people that I know that are golfers, that's all they want to talk about. That's all they want to do. It's an obsession. It's like, dude, there is so much more to life. Go up to Crater Lake. See some sights, enjoy the world. It's an obsession. People will build homes closer to the golf course or on the golf course. I don't know. There are golf communities, private gated communities for golf. Are there any for fishing or trap shooting or pick a hobby, I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Yeah, you don't see music engineer communities, like neighborhoods with fenced in little, and although they tend to cluster, because I've seen in some of those, welcome to, what is it? My crib, Hollywood crib. So I've seen people that live like it'll be a famous actor or musician, and it's their crib. Come into my crib, and by the way, did you know that Johnny Depp lives right next door? And so so there is little enclaves that group together in different societies. It's fun.
But take that a little bit further. How awesome would that be to have a music community like a golf community, where you got like the big the common use building where everybody can go in, and there's a Marshall stack over here. There's a drum kit set up on a stage and just open jam every night. How cool would that be?
I think so.
That would be a flippin' amazing, no noise ordinances until like 1 a.m. on weekends or something like that. I mean, that would be amazing, man.
You can pick, it's a funny thing because Jim Dockrell said, because we do, by the way, we do have an audience that comes on with us live. For those of you that are listening to this recording, we do this here on YouTube and then put it out in the different venues, but we do it here on YouTube on our channel, Trampled Underfoot Podcast on YouTube, and we do get a live audience with us. And sometimes, so we were talking about the golf thing, and Golf says, "Yeah, what he says, Golf, what a way to ruin a nice walk. I mean, you have to stop every time. It's totally destroying the." It's true.
Well, like George Carlin said, he says, "Imagine hitting a ball with a bent stick, then walk after it, and then hit it again." You're lucky you found it the first time. Pick it up, put it in your pocket. You can walk away a winner.
It does. I've never played golf, but it does sound fun, and relaxing, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Because
Well,
you're taking it on. You're going into the green and you're looking and you're traveling through, and it's an event, and it's a slow thing, and
mhm. And it's a challenge to yourself. I can get that. It's kind of like any kind of target sports. It's a challenge to yourself. To, they say, all right, par on this hole is 4. Okay. I've got to be average. I've got to get 4 or better, 4 or lower. So let's see what I can do. And I can get into sports like that, personal challenges, um, stuff. And this is going way off the rails here, but even something like a high jump, you're challenging yourself. How high can I get over this beam?
right.
Without hurting something, of course, or somebody else. But I could get into something like that. It's just that it becomes an obsession to the people who start doing it,
I kind of like where this has gone,
Mhm.
because we did study it thoroughly prior, and
Yeah.
and thought of the different angles, but this has
Mhm.
opened up, just from that
Yeah.
initial workflow that we did to start this. It's an
Well, you
amazing.
never know where it's going to go, and I mean, I think we know our audience. They're a bunch of avid golfers out there. And, I'm not insulting the game. I'm really not. It could be fun, but I know my personality. This is also why I don't play video games. If I did, I am that guy. I'm just like the guy I've been talking about. If I did, that's all I'd want to do. I know my personality, and there's just too many other things to do out here. So I don't even start.
What I like about this angle that we're going down is the sort of like, not so much the fact that we're focusing, unfortunately, on golf and the poor people that fall by the wayside because they are passionate about golf. It like Mark said, we're just using that as an example. But what I like is the idea of compulsive grabbing onto something, and not, and basically that's it, that becomes your life.
Well,
And pick what it could be. Disney fanatics that they just have to,
mhm.
Grateful Dead, like the
Oh yeah.
deadheads that will follow them across the country. It becomes their lifestyle.
And I get that. I really do, because golf is an easy target for me because I don't play it. But then again, I'm not an artist, but we know of artists that's all they do. That's how they live their lives. They give up and they sacrifice a lot just so they can continue to paint or sculpt or pursue their art. I do like it's a hackneyed thing to say. It's become a cliche to say, "Oh, that guy's real passionate about that." I like that. I like that passion in something. And I like to see people get excited about it. But there comes a time where there's a line when they cross that line of passion into obsession. And instead of wanting to share with the world, they become reclusive and want to keep it all to themselves. Then that's the other extreme,
But there's also something. Well, there's something to that. It
Mhm.
is the other extreme, because what happens is you're cutting off. Well, see, I'm not sure if I understand what you're saying and I agree with it, but I'm not sure if I'm able to make that judgment call. Because what happens is that sometimes, you know, um,
Well,
Mickey Mouse paraphernalia, and I don't know, collecting
it
like rocks is all one's got.
it depends on that. Now, um, I don't know. I have a theory about a lot of people who collect certain things. And this is especially true of like grandmothers, older women, I find. if you go into, well, let me ask you, did your grandmother collect anything?
Oh man, my grandma. Well, two things. I'll lay two things on the table.
Okay.
One, and it's more normal, but
Mhm.
but the excessiveness of it became a problem. My grandmother would store pennies to the point, and this is not an unheard of thing,
Right.
but to the point where I have jugs and jars and like huge tubs of pennies. Let me not
Okay.
say that live on, good luck moving it around. And by the way, I'm heavily but
You can take that to the bank and cash it in. They'll run it through their coin machine and give
here's the
you money for it.
here's the problem,
Mhm.
that I know that since she started collecting them,
Mhm.
it was back in the day, and there has to be in there, by hook or crook, valuable. See, this is in my mind. There has to be pennies that are worth more than a penny in there. Notice what I'm thinking. And they've been there so long, and I'm thinking one day, but realistically, am I going to, and I've done it a few times. I've sat with a little fistful of them, and I'm like, I just wipe them back into so there's that,
Okay.
that's, that might be unreasonable on my part. There may be, if I give that to the bank and there's like a truckload of money in coins there that all I had to do was sit through it, and yes, it's a pain, but I didn't do it, and I lost out on that, I'd kick myself in the butt.
Okay.
You know,
So here's what you do. Get you 2 red Solo cups. Okay. And every day go over to your stash and fill 1 red Solo cup up full of pennies, even with the top. Don't heap it over, just even with the top. Pour that out on your desk there and go through them. And everything that has the Lincoln Memorial on the back of it is worth a penny. Every penny that has the Lincoln Memorial on the back of it is worth a penny. Just throw those into that Solo cup.
but that's not
If there's anything else on it, set it aside.
like the little wheat thing.
Right.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily true, Mark. Some of those with the Lincoln Memorial. See, there's subcategories. See, this is where it becomes a problem, because there's some where the what do you call it? The stamping
Uh-huh.
created ghosting, and those ghosting coin. But I guess my point is, yes, you're right, and that would eliminate. But what I'm saying is that it's unreasonable for me to think that even if there was that there, that I would sit through and do that. Not today, tomorrow, the next 10 years from now. I don't know that I'm going to sit there and do that,
Well,
and yet they sit there with me hoping that one day, or thinking that one day I'll get to it.
It's not going to take it out by itself. So, you know that the steel pennies from World War II are worth money. Okay. They can be worth some big bucks. But if it's got the Lincoln Memorial behind it, unless it's been double struck or something like that, but the odds of finding a double struck coin are slim to none. And you will see that. You're flipping it all over to look at the back. Like I said, 1 Solo cup a day. And when that Solo cup is full of your just standard pennies, dump it into a different bucket. And when that bucket's full, take it to the bank. Your bank will cash them in for nothing.
Yeah. Well, there you go, solving my first world problems again.
Mm-hmm.
Because
otherwise, what are you going to do with it?
Could you imagine this conversation in a war-stricken corner of the earth with like moldy bread sitting and a sort of like rotten thing, and the two people talking about what are we going to do with all these coins?
I can't imagine that, because I'm not in that position. I'm sorry.
But you see what I'm saying? It's like,
I do see what I'm saying. It is first world problems, but what are your choices?
What am I going to do with those 5 Lexuses sitting outside, in the driveway? I can't believe myself.
We're talking about, let's be reasonable here. We're talking about jugs of pennies. We're not talking about Lexuses.
No, I'm just saying the Western world, let's say.
Yeah.
You know,
Now, Jim Dockrell must have gone through his coin collector's catalog because he's over here going steel wheat penny worth $110,000. You know, copper wheat penny. Yeah. And not a single one of those have the Lincoln Memorial on the back of them. Jim. So, 1926 wheat penny, 1877 Indian head penny. Although if you find anything, the Lincoln Memorial or newer, because the new pennies have a different back on them. But anything Lincoln Memorial is worth the penny. So, that's why I say if it's not the Lincoln Memorial or newer, go ahead and, if it's not that, set it aside. Then you can look at those more closely.
Right. So I do have a lot of wheat pennies. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
And
some of them you should look at.
Yeah.
But you gotta discriminate somewhere.
But I also have Kennedy. I think it's half dollars and dollars. I think that they were. I've got a bunch of those. Now, I don't know what those are worth. But
well, it depends on what they are, because I believe, help me out here, Jim Dockrell, since you're our Google friend here. I believe it's 1963 and earlier were silver.
Okay. Then they started extracting the
and then they went to the clad, the copper and zinc.
Yeah.
Now same with quarters and dimes. I believe it's 64 or 63 and earlier.
You know that's a total ripoff though, when they changed the in theory, and this might take us into in theory, that legal tender. I mean, I know it's not feasible, but give me a frickin' dollar in gold or silver or copper, even if that, and put it right there.
The reason they don't give you gold or silver is because a dollar's worth of gold or silver is too easy to lose.
Yeah.
You don't want a dollar's worth of gold or silver.
No, but
it's microscopic. But yeah, I get it. Now, as far as legal tender, that silver quarter is still worth 25 cents if you're spending it as cash, but it's also worth its weight in silver.
Right.
So, and I remember back in the late 70s. Yeah, late 70s. There was silver went up so high and gold went up so high that there were car dealers that were offering brand new cars up here. They were offering brand new cars for $250 in silver coin. And these were cars that cost $5,000, $6,000, $10,000. Gold and silver had increased that much as compared to the regular currency. And I mean, if it was gold or silver, you had to nail it down or it was gone.
I've always liked the idea of that it's not necessarily the precious metal going up and down, but the legal tender that it represents and its purchasing value, or dropping and whatnot, depending on the percentages that they excessively print. Like if you have $100,000 worth of gold and you print $1 million legal tender dollars and stuff, you're creating that offset, and that's actually what's happened in the world.
Well, not only that, but you got to figure back in the day when they were making $20 gold pieces and other gold and silver coins, commodities trading wasn't like it was today. Now the price of gold fluctuates several times a day. Back then it didn't do that. So that $20 gold piece when it was minted was $20 worth of gold, and that may stay $20 worth of gold for 5 or 6, 7, 10, 20 years. Now it fluctuates all the time. I mean, so $20 worth of gold may be a different amount several times a day. So I don't know. I'm with you. I prefer just this is the standard. And now, if you go through your bills, you might find a dollar bill with a blue seal on it instead of the green seal. Then look at the title up above the up above the portrait, and it won't say Federal Reserve note. It'll say silver certificate.
Right.
Now that can be exchanged for $1 worth of silver, but the silver certificate itself, it will spend like $1 bill. It's worth $1. But to a collector, that bill itself is worth a lot more than $1. So,
Since you were aware, how many times, since when you were young and you became more aware, how many times since you were young has currency been updated? Like, I know the answer for mine, more or less, but since the 60s.
Oh my gosh. Well, since it stayed pretty much the same, except for that change from silver to the clad coins on dimes, quarters, and half dollars and Eisenhower dollars. But we had the Susan B. Anthony dollar, Sacagawea dollar. We had the bicentennial issue of all the coins.
Didn't you have a buffalo penny or something?
There was a buffalo nickel way back in the day. That was before I was born. There was a buffalo on the back of the nickel instead of Monticello. Then we've had the state quarters. Then
that was recently.
Yeah.
Recently, meaning the last 15 years or 20 years.
Yeah, but the change from silver to the clad coins was probably the biggest change.
No, but and how about? Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And I don't think they printed silver certificates in my lifetime. I think they were all before I was born in '61. I may be wrong on that, but I'm not certain.
On the cash side, paper side, the $100 bill, that look. Remember that old? I don't know what the time frame, but the original ones that I remember, they were slightly more green looking, and then they updated it. I've seen it updated like 3 times.
Yeah, it's been updated several times. They made the portraits bigger, then they added color to them, and they added strips in them, security strips. And here's a little bit of trivia for you. You know that you have that little security strip that runs vertically through your bill. You take a $100 bill and you hold it up and look at it. You'll see that stripe, and it says USA 100. If you hold that bill under a ultraviolet light, 5s, 10s, 20s, 50s, and $100 bills all have that security stripe through it. They all glow different colors.
Very cool.
So that they're easier to spot. And all you have to do is run it under an ultraviolet light and you'll see it glow. I don't remember the colors right off the top of my head. I think 5 is red and 10 is yellowish. I really don't remember. I used to know this stuff when I worked in the casino industry, because each new bill that came out, they didn't just do them all at once. They went through various steps in modification. Each new bill came out, we had to go update all of the slot machines to accept that new bill. And it was a major pain, because when you've got 300 machines in a casino, you have to do every single one of them, and you can't do it when somebody's playing it. So,
right.
It was a major pain. It'd take a week to update all those machines.
Well, so, after, well, go ahead.
Where I was going with this was on the collection, and we got to money on the collection issue, is people who collect owls or collect hippos or collect pigs, or lighthouses or what have you, little tchotchkes, and they'll have a shelf of stuff like that. My theory is, I think basically one time they said something like, "Oh, I think owls are cool." And people went, "Oh, she likes owls." So that's what they started buying her every year for Christmas or for birthday or whatever.
Yeah.
And grandma being grandma and wanting to appreciate everything little Jimmy or little Susie bought her, said, "Oh, well, thank you for that little ceramic owl." And now she has a whole shelf and a windowsill full of owl things that she didn't want, but she's too nice to say no to. And that's how grandma ends up with a collection full of owls or lighthouses or pigs or whatever. I really think that's how it works.
It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing that I've never, well, that's not true. I used to collect comic books.
Mm-hmm.
What else did I collect? I collected comic books. Really, the only thing I've really collected is comic books. And by default, a cousin of mine gave me all his vintage, like old frickin' baseball, football cards, which I used to carry in a shoebox. If you remember, you put them in the shoebox and you could fit, I don't know how many rows in the shoebox, and you put them in there and you'd cover the shoebox and you'd have all your baseball cards and your friends come over and you'd look at it was so freaking cool, the tops and all so I did that. But the money thing, I remember when the money upgraded to the big faces, the bigger portraits. After a time, years went by, and you get cycles of new, fresh blood, new people working the odd jobs in stores, and they're new, like, so they don't remember the old stuff. And I remember going in and pulling out to pay with a old $100 bill. I went, and for me, that $100 bill, just looking at it, it's like, that's the $100 bill. The new one, yeah, I guess it's $100 bill, but it's kind of at that point. But that's the old one, that looks like $100 bill to me. And I gave it to her to pay. And she grabbed it and she looked up at me with that suspicious eye. And I knew right away, and I was like, oh, great. This person is incredible. They looked, and then they went to the manager.
Uh-huh.
And it was approved by the grocery staff. So you know what I'm saying? It's such a weird thing.
I don't know about your area. Down in Nevada with all the casinos there, $100 bills were nothing. I mean, gas stations would take $100 bill. Up here, 20s are scrutinized as bad as $100 bills were down there. You look at a $100 bill, you'd hold it up, see if you could see the watermark and the security stripe, and you were okay. The old hundreds, they would take the little detector pen and check it. The little one that looks kind of tan color.
Yeah, like mercurochrome.
Do you know what it's supposed to look like if it's a counterfeit bill?
It turns black.
It's black, exactly.
Yeah.
So a lot of clerks don't know.
Remember, we worked in the same. Field.
That's right. I keep forgetting you worked in a casino too.
I was loaded. I was carrying money up and down that casino. I had money, in my pocket, in my little, whatever you call it, satchel. I was walking with the bills, man.
Yeah.
Can't take them home.
No. Now, I don't know about you. This has morphed into a discussion that is going in a direction I had no idea it was going to go. I don't know about you, but when I first started in the industry and I'm walking around with all this money, I was scared and nervous at first. Mm-hmm. But as I got used to it, it became like the only thing I can compare it to is nails for a carpenter. You don't even think about it anymore. It's just something that you have to do your job. Yeah. And I'd be walking around with $10,000, $12,000 in my pockets, on me, in my trucker's wallet, and didn't even think about it. Mm-hmm. How about you?
Yeah. Another residual of that is that after I left the industry, and I do some cash dealings through town, my running through the counting was like almost like a machine, and the person, inevitably the person in front of me would be looking at that like shocked, because I'd be like, and so it
Now, do you face your bills that go in the wallet?
Well, most of the time I do, but I've left that behind as time. But I used to put it all in line.
I still haven't. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, facing your bills is where you take all of the money that you have in your wallet and you arrange it. Largest bill in the back, smallest bill at the
Yeah.
front, the face facing you,
Hmm.
and all the right side up.
Yeah. If I start with a fresh wad of cash, and throughout the years, like let's say you pick, a few 20s and a 5 and a 1s, for whatever, and I put it in I will usually order it exactly, like that. I'd face them all.
Yep.
But as time went on, so I'll just stuff it in the wallet when I'm somewhere, because I just want to get out of it. Like, today I was at the freaking grocery store, and it's a funny thing, and it always happens. You have the lady there and a lady purchasing, going on and talking the items. So I'm waiting, and I'm like, well, there's still items on the conveyor belt. So they're talking while the items, blip, and then the conversation. But here's the thing with these people. That's it. The deal was done, and now the lady is fixing her wallet, and while she's doing that, she's talking, not paying attention to the wallet, maybe like 50-50, and so prolonging my misery. And I'm watching that, and I'm controlling myself, and my mind is thinking, in a fit of rage, I'll grab all these racks and toss them on them, and this and that, and yet I'm outwardly sitting calm, because it's such a rude thing to do, to do that. But I stay patient. I don't say anything. And then when it came to my turn, the lady doesn't say hello, nothing, and she finishes ringing up and doesn't verbally say the amount. And I look at this and I'm like, but then I think of and this was not a young lady. She should know better. But I remember myself as a kid when I worked, in that job. And anybody could work at any, but I remember when I didn't have any knowledge of these things, that it was on my mind to attend the person, because you don't want to be rude. You're doing, and they're paying you money. But people are totally so they have their little exchange, and I always end up, and I see this all the time. I don't know if it just happens to me. I doubt that that's the case, but there's like some serious, I hate to bring it up, there's some serious gender and communication situations going on. If it's a guy, there's something a little bit expendable.
Maybe they knew each other. Maybe this was a regular customer that's been coming in for 16 years and hitting the same cashier, looking for that cashier every time. You don't know. I mean, people are people. But that you're just talking about right there happens all the time here. It's all the time here. That's why I tell people who come here who have never been here before, go in, do your business, get out. Do not ask the cashier how he or she is doing, because they will tell you, and there are no short stories. People take their time. The pace of life is slow here. So if you say, so how are you doing today? Be ready for an answer and be ready for a story, because there's a story. I'm here to tell you there's a story, and there are no short stories. So
Yeah. I mean, and then again, one has to think that so look, if you're a manager at a supermarket, you want your cashiers to be friendly, polite, efficient.
Right.
They need to be all.
Right.
The efficient side, to me, is just as important as because what happens is that, as important as one customer is, there's other people that are important, and they want to get out.
And that's the difference between big city and small town. In big city, there are other people. In small town, you have to keep them coming back. And if you don't engage, there's 100 stores they can go to. They don't have to keep coming to yours. In a big city, you've got so many more people vying for that spot. They don't care if they lose a customer. Here, they do care, because word travels fast in a small town.
Well,
Yeah, no.
I'll just say this. I can see that and I understand that, but I'll just say that to me, and this is just me, I think that it's always one's ideas that are the best and correct, and everybody else is totally crazy. I understand that, so that applies to me as well, the way I think. But I think it's very reasonable to think that the whole process is to purchase. If you have a little issue, oh, okay, here's the price situation, and then here's the money, here's the buy, and
Yeah.
next, and to facilitate a quick,
Yep.
exit, and the next person is being
I'm
attended.
with you. I came to the store to buy this, this, and this. I didn't come here to have a conversation. Let's
Right.
get this. Let's go. If
Right.
I want conversation, I'll go hang over the fence and talk to my next door neighbor, because God knows I will get it. But I'm not here for that. I want to get my stuff and go home, because the reason I came here is because I have to have it for something else that's waiting on me when I get home. So let's go. I do want to give Billy 5 bonus points. Billy Bird out there. My display name here is Go Go Godzilla. And he popped in, said, hello. Hi, everybody. Oh, no, there goes Tokyo. Score yourself 5 bonus points.
I remember, I don't know if you've ever had weird situations like this, but I remember going years and years ago because we have 3 or 4 fast food joints here close by. We have many more, but close by. And I remember going to the Kentucky Fried Chicken. I was probably 24, 25 or thereabouts, or kind of, and the young girl opens the window in the drive-thru. I had ordered, and she stuffs my bag with extra food, and obviously, and she gives it to me. Very beautiful young lady and stuff. And the next time I came, she did the same thing. And I'm taking home extra food, and I'm thinking to myself, what is this exactly? What's going on here? Well, obviously she liked me, right? Like she or something else is going, but I thought she likes me and she's saying, hey, I like you. Let me give you a little extra more. Let's start up a conversation. But I found it such an awkward thing. My bag is being stuffed with extra food. She's a hot chick. And I couldn't I couldn't find a way for myself to open it, because number one, I was stealing because she's giving it to me. The correct term for me to, but you know what I'm saying? It was just weird, dude.
Easy thing to say. Smooth. I mean, come on, be nice and smooth. Oh, wow, this is a lot more food than I can eat by myself. Would you like to join me?
You see, that's where my youth and inexperience did not allow me to progress.
Well, see, you say that like I would have said that when I was 25. When I was 25, I'd have been just as mystified as you. You're talking to a 59-year-old dude who can think back now to what would I have said? Well, probably nothing. What should I have said? Probably that.
It's such a funny thing, though. Just a weird occurrence that my dad never, my dad loved Burger King, was his favorite. Yeah. He never went to the Kentucky Fried Chicken. He never went to the this or that, none of that stuff. And when I was a little kid, the only thing I knew was McDonald's, but I never was, when my dad would say, okay, come on, son, I got to get a Whopper. And I joined him on the ride, but I was too little and stuff. And I didn't, but McDonald's I would, but Burger King, no, for some reason. And I remember with my friends, I was little, and their mom said, okay, come on, everybody, we're going to KFC. And all the kids, all my friends, I had no idea what the hell KFC was because we didn't eat it. My dad didn't stop at the KFC that I remember.
Yeah.
We did once later in the years because a cousin of mine was working there and we visited to say hello and stuff. But I didn't know, and I jumped in the car and went with them.
Uh-huh.
And it was the first time I had the frickin' biscuits and the chicken and the whole thing, and it was. I still remember it to this day. That's how awesome it was.
Yeah, KFC, I never equated it to fast food because it was more of a sit-down meal. It was something that you grabbed on the way home, and it was a special thing because Kentucky Fried Chicken, and this is back when it was Kentucky Fried Chicken, you know, and the sign was the big barrel with the Colonel's face on it and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was a special thing because it was always expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. You can go to just about any hot deli in any grocery store, and for anywhere from $5 to $7, you can get an 8-piece fried chicken dinner. Colonel Sanders, it's gonna be about $20 or more.
But they have those extra. Yeah, man.
Always loved the biscuits with the little packets of honey.
Oh yeah.
Because when else do you have honey on a biscuit? Linda bakes killer biscuits. I have never thought to put butter and honey on one of her biscuits, but for some reason it clicks at KFC. You got to have the little packet of honey with the butter. I don't know why that is.
In barbecue pit stops, they have that. They'll have a bottle, and you'll take your biscuit and you'll plunge it into the frickin' thing, and you'll squeeze, and it's like it fills it with the stuff.
Yep. Yep. But I never thought I'd put lots of butter on her biscuits, but I have never. We had biscuits last night, and I didn't put night before last, excuse me, and I didn't put any honey on them then. Lots of butter. No, I don't know. I don't get it. Mashed potatoes and gravy. Always loved the gravy at KFC.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah, but
went a completely different direction again.
Well, you know what I don't like about what sometimes it happens, and I don't know if this happens in your KFCs out there, but sometimes the coleslaw, they'll use the spoon to push down the liquid, and they'll give you a dry coleslaw without the liquid. That's a nice little infusion. I like a little bit of that liquid with my coleslaw.
This is gonna say something here. We haven't had Kentucky Fried Chicken, I don't think, since we've moved up here. Maybe once. But we had a local KFC right down the road from us. It closed down. It became a sushi place, and then it became something else, and I think it's vacant again. There's a couple in Medford, but that's 8-10 miles down the road, and we passed several places. I don't know if we have had KFC since we moved up here. I'd have to ask her, but I don't know. I like it.
Well, my favorite. What's that?
I need to go get some KFC. I haven't had it in a while,
dude. It's good stuff. And here's the thing about it. I like the original recipe, but I also like the crisp. What do you call it? The crispy.
I have had the crispy, but if I want crispy fried chicken, I'll just go to the grocery store and get it off the hot deli. I go to KFC for the original recipe.
Yeah. See, I'm a fan of both, so it's like, but my favorite of all is a toss-up between Arbys and Long John Silver's, believe it or not.
I think if I were going to name my absolute favorite fast food joint, it would be Arbys.
Yeah.
Because I just like Arbys. I like the stuff that they make.
Yeah, they're good. And man, and I've told you this before, but see, this area, and it might change now that there's more students here, but there was a season when I was growing up and I started work. I worked at Arbys after I worked at McDonald's. And it was the thing because the population was mixed enough so that Arbys was viable. And you had, like, let's say the Cuban population, they'd enjoy the crap out. My dad liked Arbys as well, by the way. But the majority of them would more so go to your Cuban cafeterias and eat sandwiches there. So the Arbys closed in the area. We have other Arbys further from here, but the area now catered to, what the population here cared for. Now that it's
Sure.
changing up a little bit, even though they're sort of like not, they're transient, they'll be here and then there might be things like Arbys coming. We had a Boston market when that became a thing. We had what do you call that? Hardee's. We had all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then it just went away.
Yeah, we're right off of the main highway here that runs north south through the valley, and there are fast food places all up and down. I mean, for a 10-mile stretch, there's fast food joints all over the place, and you can take your pick. You could literally eat in a fast food joint on this highway, on Highway 62, once a day for a month and never eat in the same place twice. But it's just the way it is. Everybody's trying to get that, but because there's like 3 or 4 different bedroom communities to Medford out here. So you've got the population bases of everybody goes for convenience. And if it's just right down the road, that's the one that's going to get hit first. So,
oh yeah.
Except McDonald's. I will drive past 20 McDonald's to get to a Wendy's or a Burger King. I just don't like McDonald's.
I have, so talking about that, if I'm treated poorly or in exchange, because I am that way, especially with my purchasing habits.
Yeah.
If I am treated, and this goes to marketing and how true it is, because I recognize what it is, and I'm one of those people. If I have a bad exchange at a store, I know that it's not I consciously know it's not the store's fault necessarily. It's the person, and their, whatever issue, they did something incorrectly, whatever. But I'll blame the whole damn thing. The whole thing, all of it. Blame all of it.
It depends. I know people have an off day. It happens. You ordered 2 cheeseburgers and you get your order and you head out, and it turns out you've got a cheeseburger and a fish sandwich. And it's like, oh man, you go back and they're like, I'm sorry. And they fix the order for you. People have an off day. But we have a Jack in the Box out here in the West. I don't think you have Jack in the Box back there.
We do not.
It's fast food joint, burger joint. There is one Jack in the Box right down the road from us. It's like 4 blocks away. I refuse to go in there because every time, I don't mean most times, every time there's been a problem. We pulled in one night, Friday night at about 8:00, and got up to the speaker, and the guy back in there on the headset says, "We're closed. It's Friday night. There's a crowd here. I'm all by myself and I can't take it anymore. I'm closing." We were the only car. There was nobody else there. This dude was stressed out because he was the only person in the store on a Friday night. He had one customer and couldn't handle it. And he closed. That was just one example. I mean, every time we've gone there, there's been a problem. And I refuse to go in the door. I just, no, I won't.
See, that's what I'm talking about, dude.
But I'll go to other Jack in the Box in the area. I just will not go to that one. For some reason, that particular Jack in the Box has problems. You'll get the wrong order. You'll get, you'll get a bunch of stuff you didn't ask for, or you won't get half of what you asked for.
Yeah.
There's an issue. There's always a problem there. The Diet Coke is out. How do you run out of Diet Coke? How do you do that?
Oh, that's, the reason I stopped going to McDonald's at all, and it's not like I won't go back one day, but my McDonald's over here, for some reason, their Sunday machine was always broken or shut down. Oh no, we're cleaning it out every time. And after like the third time.
Yeah.
Every freaking after the third time, because what it is that either when they change shifts or it's time to go good night or whatever the case might be, they're cleaning up and closing shop and doing all that, and they don't want to, or who knows, or maybe the guy didn't pour the liquid into, but after like the third time of that, just to spite, I said, no, I'm not coming here. No, actually, I went back. Well, let me just say this one. I did go back and for breakfast one day, and I said, "Can I have an extra hot cake sauce?" And she says, "Yeah, it'll be 50 cents." And I was like,
"Forget it."
And I was like, "That's I did purchase pancakes. I know that it's an exaggeration, but I'd like some. You're gonna make me. It's not the 50 cent, but I mean, can you talk about
Yeah, really. And I'm picking on Billy Burt tonight here, but he's 100% right here. He says, I don't do drive-throughs ever. I've never had a drive-through order that wasn't screwed up ever. I'm kind of with you. I hate the drive-through. Now with the COVID thing, I have to use it. But before this, I never went to the drive-through because the only thing they give you at the drive-through
is grief.
It's the stuff they don't have the guts to hand to you face to face. If you're in your car and they're in the building, there's a degree of separation there. They can give you the junky stuff. But when you're standing there across that counter looking at them face to face, they give you the good stuff. I'm with you, Billy. I don't like drive-throughs. I don't like them at all. Don't like them at all. Well, I said it. I'm glad.
I like the convenience of it, but sometimes it's because of the reasons you laid out. And there's a secondary situation. If the dude behind the microphone is one lazy guy or he doesn't have his act half together, you could be sitting in that drive-through. I don't know have you ever sat at the drive-through and thought to yourself, I could have gone in and this would have been solved a long time ago. Have you not?
That's another reason why I can see them making the food. I can see the guy take down the buns and take out the little burger patty and put it down and do this and do that and do the other. I can see them doing it. If there's an issue, we can handle it right here, right now. I don't have to wait for them to just, slide open the window and hand me a bag. No, I want to see what's going on. So no, I will go in and stand and wait. And if it's been a couple of seconds or what I think is being too long, I'll start tapping my foot and looking at them. And that makes people turn around and go, is that order about ready?
Yeah. I mean, dude, it's a funny thing. But, I guess it sounds like it's a countrywide situation.
Oh, it is. And, it is. It's a massive first world problem. When I was a kid, going to a hamburger joint was a treat. It wasn't sustenance. It wasn't a regular diet. It was a treat. And you went and got a hamburger once a month, maybe. Now, we do so much and we just, I don't feel like cooking. Well, you want to go get something? Yeah, let's go get something. It's not a regular diet, but it's become less of a treat and more of a, let's go get this. It doesn't suck. Now, I will say there is one place that, at least here anyway, I don't know about other places. They have always done it right, and that is Dairy Queen.
Okay.
DQ, I love it. They're a bit pricey, but I have never had a bad order from them. I've never gotten the wrong thing. I've never got something and went, what the hell is this? I've always gotten exactly what I wanted and gotten very good quality out of Dairy Queen. So Dairy Queen, you're doing it right. So, and the other place is A&W, but we don't have an A&W up here anymore.
We had one, but again, it didn't. Is it just me, and I'll stretch it beyond the bounds. But first, I'll just say, is it just me that food, including fast food, just going out food and this and that, was better years back than now? It seems like everything, the meats, the everything is slightly crappier. Is it me? Or
I
is it?
I think it's age. I think it's age because I'm with you. I'm with you. Things just to me don't taste the same. It just doesn't, a Big Mac, yeah, the size has changed. Big Mac used to be the biggest burger McDonald's sold.
Yeah,
And it always seemed, of course, now I've grown, so,
yeah,
but it has gotten smaller.
yeah,
Well, um, it's the same ingredients, but I think it's just age in that doesn't appeal to me anymore. That's why McDonald's is so popular with kids, because they put ketchup on everything. They don't put mustard on hamburgers unless you ask for it. And kids like that. So, they've always geared towards kids. Always. I mean, their mascot's a clown, for crying out loud. So
we used to. So we had Sweetwater Elementary, which is still there. It was brand new, and I when I started there, and my mom was one of a bunch of ladies through their organization that pushed for Sweetwater to have a school, because they would bus all the kids, and in my case, they'd send me to private school, which, looking back, would have been the ideal thing if they would have kept it. More expensive, but
sure.
So we'd go I'd walk in the morning. So one of the benefits was that my parents could go to work driving and I could walk to school, because you literally would walk a few blocks, turn, wait for the person at the person in charge. I forget what they'd call them, that they'd wear the little striped,
The crossing guard. Yeah.
the crossing guards, and they'd walk us across, and then we'd get to the other side, and whatever. And so, when I got older, I used my bike and my skateboard, which was pretty freaking cool. So you get there. But I remember in the mornings, a friend of mine, because we'd be there early waiting for class to start, and he'd say, "Hey man, I'm gonna go to McDonald's," and because the McDonald's was, you had the school and then you had the field, and there was a fence with one little opening where you could cross and get out of the school, make a right-hand turn, and right there is the McDonald's next to the school. And so, hey man, let's go to McDonald's. And I said, okay. And we went through the little crack in the fence, went to the McDonald's, and I didn't know, I just followed him. It was the first time I learned about hash browns. He said, I'm going to get a hash brown, and they gave him the hash brown, and he gave me a piece, and I ate it, and I just salivated. Imagine a little kid, the salts and the potatoes snapping in your mouth, and I was like, oh my goodness. And I would go there, I'd take like $1, you could get 2 for $1, something like that, and then ever after that day, I'd go and get that because it was so freaking good.
Now, that's one thing I will give McDonald's, is they know how to do potatoes.
Yeah.
But you were asking about, is the food crappier? Is this different, or is that different?
Yeah.
One change they did make at McDonald's is, and it's something that a lot of people don't know, is McDonald's, all their fries were shipped to them frozen, and they would, deep fry them there. But the potatoes were parboiled before they were sliced, partially cooked, and they were cooked in beef broth. Well, some people got upset about that. We're vegan. We have religious problems with this. We can't eat meat. We can't do this, that, the other. They stopped doing that, I want to say in the 80s or the 90s. And the flavor, the taste of McDonald's French fries changed. And I haven't been the same about McDonald's fries since. They are different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you. The McDonald's does know how to do potatoes. But
Burger King changed their French fries as well.
yeah, they
At
did.
some point, they changed the recipe, and not for the better, in my opinion.
Yep. Same here. None
of them for the better. But then again, it might be the old factor that you were mentioning.
Well, when you think about it, how many millions of French fries have we eaten over the course of our lives? I mean, remember when the big French fries that were crinkle cut?
Yeah.
Seemed like they were like the size of a horse's leg, man.
Yeah.
They were huge and they were hot and they just snap, and oh man. But yeah, I still dig it.
I like those too. I still like those too. In fact, I have a bag of it there. I purchased it. I change every few weeks from the crinkle to like the I guess you'd call them seasoned fries.
Yeah.
I like those. They're not at the end of the day, there's not a lot of potato in them. They're just so skinny and small.
All right, here we go. Ready? The subject is tater tots, baked or fried?
Fried.
Okay. All right.
Are you
now
kidding?
we can still be friends. I mean, I'll eat them baked. They're great. I like tater tots no matter what.
Yeah.
But, I prefer fried.
It just fried is, and it's a funny thing because it says that I'm less prone that what do you call it? The category thing for your DNA said that I'm less prone to eat fried stuff, and I love fried stuff. So I mean,
well, my mother and my grandmother were both from Texas, so everything we ate until I moved out of the house was fried, just about.
I mean, what are you gonna do, dude? It's a quick fix,
Okay, I got a question for you. Do you want to keep this one short, or do you have a few? Do we have a few minutes to keep going?
If you've got something to hit us with,
I do. I fell down a rabbit hole about 3 days ago, and I haven't completed the journey yet. But I thought maybe you would find this interesting because it was fascinating to me. I fell down this rabbit hole because a video came down on the right side of YouTube in my suggestions. And I found this channel. It's a fairly new channel. He posted his first video about 6 months ago, and he's only got 10 videos up. But the channel is called Ghost Town Living.
Okay.
And it's this guy who went in with a partner. He basically spent his life savings, and his friend spent his life savings, and they got 3 or 4 other investors. They bought this property in Central California that has a ghost town on it. This guy lives in a ghost town. The channel is called Ghost Town Living. The town was an old mining town called Cerro Gordo, which I think means big mountain. But
no, Sierra Gordo.
Cerro, Cerro, Gordo.
Gordo is fat.
Right.
So, okay.
Fat mountain, maybe? Fat hill?
Fat something like, no, because I don't know what Cerro is, but Sierra
is mountain. I do know that.
Yeah. So maybe it's a whatever, it's fat something.
Yeah. Well, they bought this ghost town. And
That's
when
amazing.
When the COVID hit, this guy was from Austin, Texas. When the COVID thing hit, he decided, well, I'm going to pack up my truck here. He lived in Austin, and I'm going to go out to Cerro Gordo, and I'm going to stay for a few weeks and just, get to working on it and fixing it up. And
with no internet?
Well, no, he's got cellular.
Okay.
The place has electricity. It used to have running water. He doesn't have running water right now. And that's a problem that they're trying to work through. But he started out, was going to stay there for a couple of 3 weeks, and he's been there for 6 months now. He just doesn't want to leave. And he stays in one house and his partner stays in another house, and they work on the place. And it's an absolutely fascinating channel. I mean, some of his videos, he goes down into the old mines, and he's exploring all of these old mines. They used to mine silver there, and when the silver ran out, they started mining zinc. And it used to be a pretty big town.
My dog is snoring. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, but I'm here. Have you ever, when dogs snore and their lip flaps, and I can hear it behind my. Continue. I'm sorry. It was so like disconcerting.
But it's just the guy is a little bit, I don't know, kind of geeky. Maybe he had absolutely no idea what he was doing when he first got up there. He found a little miner's shack. The miners lived outside of town on the other side of the hill from the main town.
Okay.
And the high muckety mucks lived in town. And you had a general store and a saloon and a hotel, and then you had a bunkhouse for certain employees. One guy was so rich, his cook had a little house back behind him, and so he was fixing up this little miner shack, one of the last miner shacks standing in this little ghost town, and that's kind of his go away to get away from it all, like the town already isn't getting away from it all.
Was it that he was so rich that he had or was it that they were so poor that he looked rich to them? Because I'll tell you what, there's situations. See, and I hate to say, so there's this phenomenon that occurs that some people, that guy is loaded, but the problem is that the you have to set your sights, because it just might be that people are so darn poor that to them, this guy.
He was one of the founders of the town, one of the original claimants, and they did pull some gold out, and they did work some silver, and it was the biggest silver deposit in California.
Oh, wow.
He had the biggest house in town.
Well, that kind of settles it, but
he had the biggest house in town.
But just keep in mind that what I said. So,
and when the silver started to go away, he's the one who came up with the idea to switch over to zinc, because he got the ore into the assayer's office, and the assayer's like, yeah, the silver's playing out, but you got a bunch of zinc in this. So, and they worked that forever. Anyway, until that finally ran out too. So he's exploring all these old mines, and he's going through the old buildings. And a few months back, that would have been about 3 months ago, they had a place that they were working on, that they were in the process of restoring, that they were going to open up for tourism. And it was called the American Hotel. It burned down. They don't know what happened. They don't know how the fire started, but he said he was woke up at 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning by the sound of the propane tank exploding. And by the time he got on his cell phone and dialed 911, by the time they all got up there, it was just rubble. But they kept it from spreading and put it out and everything. So what they're doing now is they're trying to raise money to rebuild it. They've got engineers and architects helping them work on it to rebuild the American Hotel. But this is a ongoing venture. They eventually end up wanting to open it up to tourism and get people to come up and stay and take them out on tours of the mines and things like that. But it's actually a very cool little town. And like I said, he's only got about 10 videos up, but it's well worth checking out. It's called Ghost Town Living. And I'll go ahead and I'll put a link to it over on the Trampled Underfoot podcast Facebook page. Just head over to Facebook and look for Trampled Underfoot podcast, and you'll find a link to this YouTube channel, and you can check it out. It's real intriguing. I mean, he's gone down into some of these mines and he's found old clothes. He's found weapons. He's found all kinds of stuff in these old mines.
Wouldn't it be a kick just for once we see a situation where, I'm not saying me or you necessarily, but just where someone stumbles over that frickin' leftover chunk of frickin' gold stuck in the rubble, and they pull that puppy up and they're like, Eureka, and it's like,
stranger things have happened. I mean, the world's biggest gold nugget was found that way. A guy kicked it. It was sticking up. Part of it was sticking up out of the ground. It was in Australia, I want to say.
I bet you he cursed it at first.
He kicked it, and it was like, well, wait a minute. What the heck is that? And he got to looking at it, and it was a big gold nugget. I mean, just a chunk of solid gold. And he's like, holy cow. And I don't remember exactly where it was in Australia, but just serendipitous, just kicked it.
Amazing, dude.
Things like that happen. There was a gentleman over in the UK. Now, over in the UK, people with metal detectors are really looked down on. They're teased and taunted and tormented, basically, as you're a bunch of losers. This guy found
You're only a loser if you're wearing those headphones.
He was wearing the headphones.
Oh, okay.
This guy found a cache of Bronze Age jewelry.
See, that's it. That
was worth, I think they valued it something like $4 million. And it was his first time out with the metal detector. And he found it about 6 feet from his car.
Get out of town.
It's serious.
Okay. In a situation like that,
it's like nobody likes a smart aleck, dude.
Because they comb all of Europe. There's people that comb it all.
Oh yeah, there are. As much as they can. You're absolutely right. But people, because I used to have a metal detector, I used to do that kind of stuff. People think you have to go to the open spaces and out in the country away from where people are, because that's where you'll find the really cool stuff, when it's just the opposite. Our cities have been built upon the remains of old cities.
Right.
That were built upon the remains of old cities. So chances are, if you're going to find something, it'll be where people are, because that's where people's stuff has gone.
Yeah.
So start in your own backyard, man.
Oh, I'm sure there's tons of stuff in my yard underneath the grass and all the roots and stuff. I'm sure that there's coins and all sorts of stuff in there, because we're talking since the 1930s. You know, yeah. I mean, there's only been a few. We're like the second people to ever live here.
Right. But what was there before that?
Well, yeah, exactly. Maybe somebody or many people they find coins, like you were saying. They find all sorts of stuff.
Well, people find all kinds of old things all over the place. I mean, there are places around here where you can go find arrowheads. In like Montana and Wyoming, they go out looking for fossils. They find dinosaurs.
Check this out. I think this is a good thing to add to this conversation. I saw a video. It always starts with I saw a video, because it's all connected to the. It's not like I was at a place and X, Y, and Z happened. It's more like nowadays it's like, hey, I saw a video, right? It's like secondhand experience.
Yep.
We're in Israel, Jerusalem. There was the Temple Mount in the heart of the city. And then there was this parking lot, modern day parking lot. And they discovered that underneath that parking lot was a whole intricate part of the city with tunnels and all sorts. And so they lifted the parking lot. And now just outside of the walls of the temple, there's this going way down, like you'd see in construction of big high rises. You see all the old, rock walls and all that.
Yeah.
And there's a tunnel that leads right into the city underneath. And it was like the aqueduct of the city. Very fascinating stuff.
Oh yeah, that kind of stuff just absolutely fascinates me, and that's why I got hooked on this ghost town living channel, because it's I don't have the ambition, drive, or desire to go out and look at these old ghost towns myself. So I live vicariously through other people. I'm not going down a mine shaft. I am not doing that. That's just flat out no.
No, screw that.
But I'll watch someone else go do it just to see what they find. And these guys find all kinds of neat stuff, but I've always liked that discovery thing. And especially the older it is, the cooler it is to me.
So I think this is a good, a little mention. Jim said that I was looking for my cell phone using the flashlight app to help me see.
Yeah. Yeah. He said he's lucky if he can find his glasses when they're on top of his head. I've been there, done that. I walked around my shop one day just romping, stomping, ranting, and raving because I could not find my safety glasses. And they were up on the front of my hat just above the bill, and I couldn't see them because I swore I set them down somewhere. And I looked for a half hour for those ding-dong safety glasses because I had a few cuts I needed to make on my table saw. I was wearing them. Just up there.
It's such a funny thing, I think we've all done. How many of you guys have gotten up to go in a direction, to another room, to the kitchen, outside, and once you got there, you totally forgot why the heck you were there?
That's a legitimate thing. That is a legitimate thing. And scientists, what triggers it is the threshold going from one room to the next. Scientists believe that is something within us from evolution for us to pay attention to what is in this new territory. Like if we come out of the cave, look for the predator. Be aware of your surroundings. So what you were thinking about before is no longer relevant. It's no longer important. You've got to be watching out now. But that's what they think. I know, but it's something from way back.
Crossing thresholds and whatnot.
Right, exactly. And I'll give you another, for instance. This one is related, okay? You ever been laying in bed and you almost asleep, you're starting to drift off, and all of a sudden your whole body just jerks?
Oh yeah.
You feel like you're falling?
Yes.
They think that is also from way back when we as a species used to live in trees or slept on raised platforms to stay away from the predators and the creepy crawlies that would come up and bite us and stuff like that. Wow. It's kind of a self-preservation thing. That's what they think. That's a theory, but
it is an amazing thing. I mean, we don't know the whole story by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, you see dogs doing things that their ancestor wolves might have done. Like there's no need for my doggy here that was snoring earlier on. There's no need for him to do 3 or 4 circle turns before laying down. No need. He could crash out with paws in the air wherever he wants, because newsflash, doggy, there's no snakes around. You're not going to have to deal with any, but they still do it. Where did he learn that? It's in him to do that.
Yeah. Well, it's crushing down the grass and the weeds for a nice flat place to lay down.
Right, but
chasing off the snakes and stuff.
But he doesn't. He didn't grow up knowing that was a necessity. He didn't learn it from his mom and dad, but he does it. And so that leads me to believe what you just said, or things similar to it, are in us in that way. We can't even.
Some things are instinctive. Yes, there are some things that we do by instinct, but The one I can't figure out. I can understand millions of years of evolution. I can understand that turning around 3 or 4 times before you lay down, chasing out the bugs and flattening the grass for a comfortable place to lay down. I can understand that. But where the heck did the doorbell gene come from?
What's that?
We had a dog, a golden retriever. The English Springer Spaniel. We had never lived in a house that had a doorbell. Not a single home we owned had a doorbell, or that we lived in. Some of them were rented, some of them were on the army. But if a doorbell rang on the TV, he would bark. Where did you get that? We've never been around a doorbell in your life. Where the hell did that come from? Don't tell me that comes from millions of years of evolution. Somebody knocks on something? Yeah, bark. All right, fine. But a doorbell? You've never been around a doorbell. Where did you get that?
I'm going to throw out a theory at you. Mind you, take it with a grain. Obviously, you have to take it with a grain of salt. And I'm not convinced of it whatsoever. But at the same time, I'm like, I think when I have interactions with my dog, I'm talking to him and stuff like that. I think that he understands my normal talking. In whatever way he can process it, he gets the gist of it. When I'm talking to you here, I'll give you an example. You and me are talking now for whatever time, and he's sitting back there listening to me, not you, because I've got my earphones on, and he's hearing this whole thing. When we conclude for the past year, 2 years that we've been doing this, and we say certain keywords, he usually gets up without me indicating or anything. He usually gets up and gets ready to walk out the door, or like that was over with. Likewise, when I talk to people in Hangouts and I give my goodbyes to them, like I say, okay, guys, and I say those key words, he gets up.
Yeah.
And so I think they understand way more than we think that they understand. And I know that we could overestimate that, but I think they know more.
They do understand and respond to patterns, for sure. If you do the same thing, like for instance, if you were to take off your headphones and stand up right now without saying any of those things, you'd catch him by surprise because you didn't follow the normal pattern. You know, if you said those certain things, like you said, if you said those certain things and you did those certain things, he would probably get up. But if you break that pattern, it's a surprise. It's unexpected.
Right. So he's not going to be able to judge that. That like I get it. So it's on a pattern basis.
Right.
But within that conversation and our ups and downs in our vocal tones and all that, I'm sure that they are, without them consciously do. I don't know how it might work, but they are receiving all that information. And their brain is filing all that, the tone, the word combinations, they're filing all this information, and whatever dogs do, they do according to what that brain of theirs has been sort of, because they do have a communication, back and forth with us in their way. But I think that they know more. Not like we would know, let's say, but I think that they know more than generally we would be led to.
They pick up on our tone. They pick up on our emotions. If we get amped up, they get amped up. If they feed off of our vibes. If you're pissed, depending upon the dog, they may go hide go into another room or go hide or something like that. If you're laughing and joking and everything, or if you're excited and jumping or bouncing around, they get excited and bounce around too. We had a little yellow lab. If you said the word ball, you better be ready to go outside and throw the ball, because that was just it.
Yeah.
You know, and if you didn't, you were the criminal. So they do pick up on certain things. They do understand. I think they understand a lot more than a lot of people think they understand.
Yeah.
But you know, it Lord only knows. Lord only knows. There are some dogs that I have had that I thought that's the smartest dog in the world, and there are others that I thought were dumber than dirt. But who knows?
You know, one thing I did do with him was that since he was little, I made him always, and I trained him. It's better said, trained him to always look at me in the eyes from his vantage point up. When he wanted something, I wouldn't give it to him until he made eye contact, and I'd repeat that habit because what I wanted him to have was a connection with me, and the connection occurs in the eyes, and that's a communication point. It's against the dog's instinct to stare directly at someone because it is a challenge. You know what I'm saying? But he overcame that. So now I trained him to do that, right? And I would feed him this and that. But what ended up happening is that now, check this out. I'll be sitting here with you, and I'll just glance over, and he'll be dead staring at me,
waiting.
But what happens is that he's trained me to that every time he stares at me, it's either give him a treat, right, or take his butt outside so he can do his necessities. So he's basically, so even though it's like the shoes on the other foot, because at the end of the day, it's such a funny thing, dude.
Yeah. It happens all the time because they start associating certain things with certain acts, and you don't know that you think you're training your dog. What you're training your dog to do is train you, because you have trained him to respond to a certain thing. Well, he's going to use that certain thing now to get what he wants.
Right. It's such a great thing, though. Truly, it's such a great relationship. You know, that specific, dog specifically.
Sure.
To me, I mean, I have nothing but love towards, and it's funny because like cats are great and all, and I've had cats by default because they in the past they used to throw animals in our yard, and my dad would say, not one more animal. It was like throughout the year they'd throw puppies in here, everything, because they knew there was a kid over there. They probably thought, we got to get rid of these puppies. Let's throw one over there because he's got a kid. And my dad would say, no, you can't be doing that. Where's that puppy from? And I ended up keeping some. But well, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. But
you've been to the party. Everybody who goes to a party has seen that one guy over in the corner just ignoring everybody else and petting and playing with the dog. I am that guy. I'm a dog guy. That's just it. I like dogs more than I like some people. You know,
we've had a relationship with our canine friends, partners, and family, frankly, for probably thousands and thousands of years. We it's, I think that not only are they responsive to us instinctually, but we are to them for some reason, because unlike any other animal, to me, there's a strong bond. You see I see a dog and I understand it's a dog, but I give it the credentials of respect. You know what I'm saying? There's something there that's deeply, inside us as well.
And I don't care how loud a dog is barking. You say, hiya, pup. They kind of look at you and cock their head. Now, unless you're breaking into somebody's house, then you got a problem.
Yeah.
But, they're very territorial.
Are you messing with my style, bud? Can't you see I'm barking here?
But
have to
like,
say,
you know, the next door neighbor's dog's out there. Hey, how you doing, guy? And you just, you know, they're right there, man, ready to join in, have all the fun in the world. There's 2 dogs in the backyard back behind us. And when I got the privacy fence put up because of the shed, I mean, that dog whined and cried for 2 days over me putting up a fence, and it's not even my dog. but because every time I was out in the backyard, out in that corner of the yard, I'm, hiya, pup, how you doing? You know, standing there wagging its tail.
yeah.
But now, you know, I have the privacy fence up and she can't see me. So what can you say?
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I do want to say that we are sponsored by Harneal Media. That's harnealmedia.com. If you have a need for a website, web store, want to sell products, any ideas to do with websites and that, Steve Nealon over at harnealmedia.com can get you set up. Person-to-person conversation. It's a personalized service. So check out harnealmedia.com. Send a message in his inbox and he'll help you out. Not a problem. And so, yeah, we do this every Tuesday, and that's every Tuesday Eastern time, 9:30, and West Coast time at 6:30, and that's PM in the evenings, Tuesdays. We do it here on YouTube, and then it goes out to all our different choice
Podcast venues.
podcast venues. That's right. Yeah.
And don't forget our Facebook page, Trampled Underfoot Podcast on Facebook, Trampled Underfoot Podcast on YouTube, trampledunderfootpodcast.com. Check out our past episodes. Click that Wayback Machine button, and you'll find everything from today's podcast that went live at dark early this morning, all the way back to number 1 when Eloy and I were both young pups and still knew what we were talking about. I think, I'm not sure. But anyway, that's trampledunderfootpodcast.com.
We'll catch you guys next time. Enjoy the rest of your week. And go check out the links that we post over there on the Trampled Underfoot podcast page on Facebook, because we do post those. And we do appreciate when you leave us show ideas and possibilities. You know, let us know. We'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye, y'all.